Hey everyone, this is Kat from Kokoro&me. Welcome to another brand new video, and today we're going to build a modern family apartment. This home is set up for a Sims family of 4, so there will be a master bedroom for the parents as well as 2 additional bedrooms for the kids. The floor plan is pretty much there already, so all that's left that needs doing is placing some doors into the rooms that aren't part of the open space area right in the middle. And as you can see, there's a front door that had been placed already and you can't really change that one. So I decided to look for some single doors that kind of go well with it. Luckily, the front door that has been used for this apartment is part of a set, so I could find some single doors in exactly the same color swatches, and these doors even have some glass panels in between them, so I think that kind of contributes to the modern look and feel I wanted to achieve for this apartment, so happy times. I really wanted to find some wooden flooring that kind of matches the color of the doors, but couldn't find anything in the end, so the floorings that I trialed were either just brown or they had so much of red tint that they actually rather felt red than brown with a tint of red. So I decided to just put a placeholder down, which is this linoleum, and in the end I'm even keeping it, even though I do have the habit of, when I don't really find what I'm looking for, I'll just put some placeholders there, and then once the furniture have been placed, I actually see if I can mix and match around it. But this time I actually keep it for once. The first room that's going to be furnished is the kitchen area that's part of the open space right in the middle, and at this point I wasn't really entirely sure where I wanted to go with this build, because all I knew was that I wanted to make this a family home. And as those doors are kind of modern, I actually decided to take on the challenge and add the modern look and feel into the pot of styles I wanted for this apartment. What I mean with challenge is that basically using a family style means that there's lots of color and lots of clutter, lots of different items. It's kind of busy everywhere. And if you think of the modern look and feel or modern interior design, it's usually quite simple, muted in colors, so both styles are kind of a contrast of each other, and there's only a certain little gray area right in between where both of the styles can overlap successfully. So at this point I really had to stop myself from going too much into one direction or the other. There is a little trick how you can achieve a successful balance between those styles, and if you take those kitchen counters as example, they are quite simple in their element itself, but if you do add a colorful texture or color swatch to them, they kind of bring in the family element back again. Also using lots of clutter, so adding to the busyness, adding the family part and element into the kitchen area, we have to basically tone it back down, and by using a wallpaper that's quite modern, we can achieve that. Just on a side note, I wanted to apologize for having been so quiet in the past week. I usually try to upload as much as possible, and I do have lots of ideas and I'm inspired, but when you are balancing a full-time job with a YouTube hobby, it's kind of hard to foresee whenever busy times come ahead. So last week has been basically absolutely manic because Christmas season is popping up, our office is changing, I had to commute to London for a few meetings, so there wasn't really much time to properly do a good job on videos. And I decided, since I've got my new gaming setup, so I've got a new little space for myself with some new computer items, I really wanted to step up a little bit and deliver more quality content, so I didn't really want to sacrifice and just upload for the sake of uploading. So yeah, sorry for that. I really wanted to talk about this in the beginning, but as I got into the build, I just got so into it that I nearly forgot about it. Anyways, let's move back onto the build, and the kitchen is just about to be done, so we can finally move on to the next area of the apartment, which is going to be the entrance hall. The entrance hall is pretty much narrow and the doors are placed awkwardly, so you don't really have much space to actually add big items there. So I decided to make use of the wall space right opposite the front door and add lots of coat racks and shoe racks. Speaking from experience, this area always used to be busy and cluttered anyway, so I feel the excessive use of coat racks and shoe racks is kind of justified. And by using different color swatches, you kind of can make them look like a few belong to the parents and a few belong to the kids. Moving on to the little niche, which is also part of the entrance hall. I think it's quite nice to actually divide the two bedrooms of the kids. So when I was younger, I actually appreciated when my door wasn't right next to my brother's door, because we used to fight quite a lot, and this little sideboard that I just placed there fits perfectly into the wall space. I actually also quite like the little tablecloth and its colors, so it's kind of like light blues and dark blues combined with whites and reds, and that's kind of also going to dictate the color scheme of the house a little bit. So in a second we're going to add dark blue walls to the room, or the entrance hall area, and then this is going to be a theme that's kind of going across the whole apartment build in a way. So the kitchen is already quite blue, and then the hallway is going to be dark blue, and then we're going to add more blue items. Not saying that it's going to be boringly all blue kinda in a way, so we're making sure that there's a good mix and match here and there, so it's not going to be too boring. One thing that I find quite important for an entrance hall area is actually having a full body mirror there. I'm not sure if that's a thing and that lots of people do this, but for some reason I've grown up with it, and we've got one in our current entrance hall as well, so I decided to add one there. Last but not least, there's one wall missing of the entrance hall area, and at first I thought I add a seating area, so if a family friend is over you can have a nice cozy relaxing coffee there, so hence the coffee frame items on the wall. But then I thought, well, people would rather sit in the living room or on the dining table or in the kitchen, so I decided to just expand this as a seating area for you to get your shoes on, and adding those little baby shoes there kinda emphasizes this aspect a little bit. Next up in this build is the living room / dining room area, and because this is a modern build, I decided to actually add a fireplace with a pull-out chimney, which also creates a little niche to the left and the right, so you can place items such as bookshelves or any decorative items to the left and right, and that kind of creates a little centerpiece for the room and a focus for it. And that's, I think, quite important because we do have quite a big open space area, so it's nice to have your little points here and there. One thing that really annoyed me with this build or this apartment lot was that one of the requirements you couldn't change was to keep the images or the photos that are hanging of the previous owner, and in this case I just cheated a little bit and put a little corner there, so I just walled it in basically. That also creates a nice little niche, so you kind of create two areas, or you divide the space into two areas, so we can separate the living room area from the dining room area quite nicely. At the moment I am struggling with the sofa area, or the sofas in general. There's always one thing per build where I'm massively struggling, and it seems to be always something different. Well, here it's the sofas. Although in the end I got there, so they are now navy blue, and we've got a big family there, so I decided to actually add 2 sets of chairs and 2-seat sofas, so everyone will have space basically when they are huddling around the fireplace or the TV. There's one thing I really like about this little corner, and that's those 2 walls with lots of big windows, even though it makes it quite hard to actually add proper curtains to it. But then again, we are quite high up on the building, so not many people will be able to, I guess, have a peek into the house. So on one side we just have those roll-up little blinds. Well, they're not really blinds, but they're somewhat roll-up curtains, and on the other side I think I'm going to add a big curtain and then leave the rest open. In the end, all they can see is the dining table there anyway, so the cozy area will have its own little space. And because it's December, I decided to add a few little Christmassy items, so this little niche there is quite perfect for a Christmas tree, even though I really hate the color swatches the Christmas tree comes with. So you do have the standard green tree and then yellow and red baubles or decorations, and that goes for the garlands as well, or any Christmas items, and then you do have a weird white tree part with blues and then I think a green one. So I don't really like any of these, but I guess going with the standard is always the safest option. I quite like the Christmas garland right underneath the TV. In the beginning I thought, let's add some socks or anything like this, but there aren't really much items that do look like that, so I decided to just leave it open. One thing that really annoys me about this build is the separation between the kitchen and the living room / dining room area, so there is quite a big space, and I always thought about filling it in a way, but I just couldn't find actually a way how I could divide it or kind of take away the big space of it, so I decided to keep it. And I guess in real life you would still have some sort of, I guess, area or empty space there anyways. For a minute I thought I could explore the pet section to see if there's anything I could really place there. In the end I extended the kitchen to have a tabletop as well as high chairs, so you have a nice seating area there as well. And I thought that's quite nice because from experience the kitchen used to be the somewhat family hub in a way. So whenever we had guests, people used to sit there quite a lot, and because the kitchen area is an open space area and kind of connected to the living room and dining room area, I thought that might be a quite nice way. Although I'm still trying my hardest to fill this empty space, and in the end I think I just gave up and decided to keep this area how it is. This floor plan also has the small little room that I'd like to use as an office, and because we do have a family here, I decided to actually add 2 desks with computers in there, even though the layout's going to change. Just didn't really like the niche the computer tables are placed at the moment. That will basically shuffle, well, now. The way how those desks are placed or structured is actually how my husband and I have it as well. So we basically sit opposite each other with our monitors back on back, and that's really cool when you both want to spend time together in the same room or anything, but you also do want to, I guess, do your own little thing. And just yesterday we actually did a little DIY project where we built a desk divider for our desks so that we do have better acoustics, just because when we're both playing games and are both on Discord, then our microphones like to pick up the voice of the other one, and then people hear us like double, triple, quadruple. So we actually got some plywood and then added some angle things to them, so we screwed them onto the desk and then covered them in felt, and I think that really improved the acoustics of our voice in general. And I also hope that it's going to improve my voiceover quality a little bit, because now I'm sitting in a smaller niche, and even though the room isn't really that massive, my microphone likes to pick up and make it sound really weird. I do have sound problems in general though, so my voice is just too quiet, I guess, for the microphone. I haven't really calibrated it much, but hopefully with time comes experience as well. Alright, back onto the build. We are currently looking at the ensuite of the master bedroom. So this bathroom is basically quite small, so all we've got there is a shower, a sink and a toilet and a few decorative items, so the parents have everything they need really. And then just next to it there's going to be a big family bathroom, so we do have a bit more space in order to add bigger items in general. And because the color scheme of the house is quite warmish, I decided to actually color change the bathrooms into a warmer cream color, so it didn't feel too cold, I guess, and anything warm really works well with families in general. The family bathroom was supposed to have quite lots of space, and I played with the thought of actually adding 2 sinks there, so that's why I'm currently playing with counters. In the end I'm using the same sink as the ensuite bathroom has, but for some reason I have this thing about exploring with bathroom sinks, so at first I wanted to add some counters to the side because I quite like the look and feel of a sink being placed on a shelf, but in the end I just added some small tables there, and we still have this look and feel of the shelf is basically holding the sink in a way, and then you've got lots of space on the left and right to actually place some clutter like toothbrushes and soap and a few towels, etc. At the moment I'm looking at rugs, and that's another of my pain points where I'm not really entirely sure which one to use, and for some reason I always have the habit of using the same one, so I miss out a lot on other nice rugs you don't see at first glance because they have different swatches and then I actually change patterns as well. Now that the bathrooms are decorated as well, we only have 3 more rooms left to furnish, and these are all bedrooms basically. So we are now starting off with the parental bedroom, which is also the master bedroom. So I decided to actually add a warm color scheme, and I'm always so thankful when you can actually add fitting curtains to fitting bed sheets and rugs and everything like this. So I think this room turned out quite nicely in the end. And I also do quite like adding the sideboard right on next to the bed or at the end of the bed, with a little TV on, so you can actually watch TV from inside the bed. And I guess adding a small TV as well is quite realistic, because a family will splash their budget rather on a big living room TV, I guess, where the whole family can enjoy it, rather than having big TVs in any of the bedrooms. In hindsight, I could have made this room a lot smaller, I think, because we do have this massive gap between the closets and the beds. And then I could have, I guess, turned the living room into a different room composition, and that could have solved the issue with the massive gap right in the middle. But I guess it's also nice to give a parent their own little space, so they can basically get away from the family and screaming children and unwind in their own little space. And that's also part of the reason why I added a little seating area, so you can sit down there and read a book. Moving on to the last 2 remaining bedrooms. So on the left there's going to be a teenage bedroom, and on the right there's going to be a toddler bedroom. For the teenage bedroom, I thought we create a somewhat transitioning bedroom, so have part of the furniture feel like they are part of a children's bedroom, and then a few more adolescent ones. So if you imagine you've got somewhat of a, I don't know, 14, 15, 16-year-old, and the room is starting to look less like a kid's room and more like an adult's room. Part of the reason why this room actually started out to be green is because I, for some reason, always struggle with gender stereotypes when it comes to kids' bedrooms. So I like to, I don't know, make girl bedrooms pink and boy bedrooms blue. So I thought by adding green to it, or just using green, I might make it a bit more neutral. But then I realized from the decorative items I added, this looks more like a female bedroom. So in the end, I will change the color scheme just a tiny teensy bit, so it will be turquoise with lilacs and pinks. So it is turning out to be a teenage girl bedroom rather than a neutral bedroom, so apologies. I quite like the use of decorative items for this bedroom, and that's because they kind of really show how this room is in a transitioning period. So you don't have many scribbles on the walls or many pictures. They kind of are somewhat children-like or girly, but they are also quite adolescent, if that makes sense. So they have the right balance between making it look like it's a children's room and an adolescent room, and I quite like that. Moving on to the very last room of this build. This is the toddler bedroom, and this room has quite a lot of windows. So at the moment I'm just exploring what I could do with curtains. In the end, I'm just placing some simple ones in greens and turquoises, because I really like this toddler set that's kind of birch wood effect in combination with turquoise. So I quite like the set, even though I guess you get quite bored when I'm constantly using the set. So remember to myself, next time you build a toddler's bedroom, please use a different color scheme and maybe also different items. I also really got into the habit of cheating walls, especially when it comes to apartments where you've got some items you can't really change. So I really didn't like this massive window, so I just added a diagonal wall to it, and that made a really nice space for some kids' pictures. And then the rug fits in really nicely. I quite like the patterns that's similar to the one on the sideboard just in front of the door, and then it fits really well with this turquoise and green color scheme for the kids' room. And I guess that's a bit more gender neutral than the girls' bedroom. Anyways, this is the apartment pretty much fully furnished. We've got a nice entrance area, and just around the corner there's the kitchen, which invites into the open space area, so you can reach out into the living room as well as the dining room area. And that's quite a nice space for the whole family to do different things, but still spend time together. We've got 3 bedrooms as well as 2 bathrooms. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Please leave a like and subscribe if you did. And thanks again for watching. Hope to see you soon. Bye bye.